Kinfolk, you already know what it is, what it was, and what it always will be. Welcome to another episode of the Black Owned Podcast. I am your host, the main man with the game plan. The game plan ain't the same plan. I've been a major figure since baby pictures. Janice's oldest boy, Sincere, is at your service. I got my co-host with me.
Yo, it's Peaches. Y'all know why I'm here.
The best to ever do it. We got a good show scheduled for y'all today. We're going to be talking a little bit about the suppression of black women, the elimination of the black man, and also we got Doc Reed who's going to be falling through to give us the fix with Doc Reed. But just in a little bit of news today, if you hadn't known, Michael Brown Jr.'s father is suing the Black Lives Matter contingency for lack of support of their foundation. Have you heard about this?
No, not until you just mentioned it, but
Yeah.
I can imagine. I still have a question though.
What's that?
Who is the Black Lives Matter Foundation?
Very good question. Very good question. If you know, shortly after the Black Lives Matter movement began to gain a lot of notoriety, we began to investigate exactly who they were, what they stood for, what they were about, to kind of ensure that they just weren't running roughshod over all of us. And a lot of people didn't like what they seen. A lot of people didn't like what they seen on the Black Lives Matter website. I won't go, deep off into that, but it did cause enough of a stir that they brought pieces of the website down. And from what I understand, I don't know how true it is, that for a while they actually had the website down while they revamped it and then put it back, out for the public. But it's a shame to hear that this organization that's gotten so much notoriety for all the wrong reasons, it's a shame that we have to have something like the Black Lives Matter movement, especially when it kind of gained its notoriety from Michael Brown, from the Freddie Grays, and for those foundations to not be supported by them is a little disheartening, if you will. So we got one good thing, man, that we want to share with y'all off the back of that, and that is today. You hopefully, we'll see how this thing go, but yeah, you guys can call in. You guys can call in and join in on the conversation. We'd be glad to hear from you.
Don't call in all emotional because
don't get it. I do have the right to hang up on you. I just want to let you know. You know what I'm saying? I reserve the right.
I'll reserve the sign
to get you right. You know what I'm saying? So, come on, man, call in. Also, please make sure that you follow in the Black Owned Podcast and all of the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube, all Black Owned Podcasts. If you're looking at us live on Facebook, please make sure that you share and also hit that notification button so that anytime we go live, you'll be made aware of such. We certainly appreciate that. Again, another thing that I want to point out, man, is there is a large contingency of supporters on Facebook, but we kind of not seeing those numbers on the YouTube account. YouTube is where we need to be. It's where we're able to kind of do a little bit more and flex our black-owned muscle a little more. So please, if you would, go over, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd appreciate you. So not only do we have a good show lined up for you today, of course, we got, like I said, the fix with Doc Reed. We got Peaches Picks, and we have a guest host who will be coming on. But we're going to get into, that as well as all other things right after what? Right after this. Come on in.
I don't hate, I motivate my people to elevate and rise above the fray to show God is great. Not blasphemous, but magnanimous, without any animus to show that they're fabulous. With a little bashfulness being the catalyst for adult learners to conquer calculus, mathematics, regression analysis. We can all learn if we were not drug addicts.
That's how I feel when I be listening to that right there. You know what I'm talking about? All right, we're gonna get into Peaches picks, but before we do that, we got a guest host, and I'll let Peaches introduce. Go ahead, please.
This is the one and only Walter Payton, better known as the Free Thinkers. You got the 87 on the end, so I'm guessing that's what he's repping on 80s, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. 1987. I'm getting up there now.
1987, man. I ain't even gonna tell you. Yeah, I ain't even gonna tell you. I ain't even gonna tell you.
I tell you what. I was on the stoop though.
Yeah, I was close. You know what I'm saying? I was about ready to jump off that mother. You hear me?
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's good to have you on, man. I don't know if everybody got a chance to see his video. I know I sent it out to a few select men in my life, and we all got positive responses back from that. So I thought that was great. So I do have some questions centering around that. So we'll get to it. But before we get into all of that, we gotta stand by for Peaches picks.
Okay, I know a couple weeks ago, January, because that happened December the 10th, we spoke on YFN Lucci and his situation. I don't know if you guys know, but he did get a bond, $250,000 for the murder charge, and an additional $250,000 for the other 3 charges. He's charged with aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and gang association. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, I would think that's the loophole. They always try to find a loophole to
22.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, especially in the city of Georgia. But I'll say it, and I'm not supposed to curse, but hey, I got to be myself. Money talk, bullshit walk 1,000 miles. That man.
Facts.
I'm very interested to see how this plays out.
Indeed.
And speaking of Atlanta, T.I. and Tiny.
Ooh.
Sticky situation.
Sticky icky.
Okay, they got play bunnies. That's what I'm calling them. Coming up out the woodworks. Mm-hmm. Apparently, this wasn't an isolated event. And my thing is this, and Sincero said it, all it takes is one woman to snowball somebody's whole lifestyle, especially of our skin tone. If you did it, you guilty until proven innocent, and not the other way around. But if enough people start screaming, then whispers become loud. So we'll see how this goes and how it plays out. I promise, I'm praying that this Black man and woman have not done what they are. But if they did, put the foots on next season, and we're praying for you either way.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said they up to like 30 different individuals at this point. I'm of course I'm a reserve judgment till all the facts come out, but I mean, it's just the thing about it is there is no recovery for either of them after this, whether they're found innocent or whether they're found guilty. It's just hard to come back from something like this when your name's just been kind of dragged through that type of mud when we're talking about sexual assault on women. So yeah, I don't know. It sounds bad, but hey, I guess at some point we will, we'll get it figured out. You know what I'm saying? Lamar, what's going on, Kinfolk? Appreciate you tuning in, my brother.
But I'm just interested. I pray, but 32.
That's how many it is?
Incidents. That's what they were up to before, maybe like an hour before I logged on.
Man, yeah, I know it was north of 30.
What are your thoughts, Walt?
Man, I kind of stay away from that stuff, man, because it's like with entertainers and celebrities, you just never know if it's scripted to sell something. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard for me to get involved with entertainers and celebrities' lifestyle just because of that. It's like it's always something to it to me. So, you know, I'm one of them conspiracy theory guys. So it's like I be trying to stay out of that.
Hey man, hey, look, hey, salute to that. You know, ain't nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, to bigger and better things, I'd rather talk about you and what you got going on. So here's the thing. First of all, when Peaches introduced me to your music and to the other video, I was like, yo, yeah, we gotta have him on. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have him on because the music was positive and it was dope, which is hard to do.
It's very hard.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciated that, but that like mini movie, I didn't want it to be over so quick.
Which one?
I'm talking about the video.
What it was called? You remember?
It was the one where
or the boy when he grew up from the lead poison that you did the show.
Oh, black on black murder.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man, because you know I got like 20 short films, man. I'm a film director, so
really.
Yeah, man. So sometimes I don't be knowing which one. But
right. So does your content kind of is it always similar to that, or not? I don't want to say similar, but are you always kind of like addressing a specific situation or like what you may see as a kind of a plague, if you will, on the community?
Yeah, for sure. It's message driven. All my music has a concept. It's all message driven because I come from a hood where we don't really we suffer from a lack of knowledge of structure issues. So I kind of try to put those structure issues in the face of the hood all the time.
Okay. I seen also a clip where you were kind of it looked like you were holding a press conference.
Recently.
Is that something that you delve into? Do you do some political work, or was that some more community activism work?
So I'm a executive precinct leader in Ward 5 in my community, and what an executive precinct leader do is we work under the ward leader and we work under the councilman. In our case, we got a councilwoman, and what I do is raise the awareness of local elections. So I go around to the residents in my community and I raise the awareness of who's the best candidate. So I'm responsible to go back to about 300-400 residents and let them know this is a great candidate. And it's up to them to pick, but that's my job as a precinct leader, and I got the right to vote on who gets the Democratic endorsement as a councilwoman or a councilman. So yeah, that's what an executive precinct leader do. And I do a lot of I ain't gonna say political because I'm really not a politician. I just know that it's power in voting. You know what I'm saying? And if I can get everybody to vote local, then we can put who we want to put in office, who's best for us, versus somebody who's just been in there, like for Ken Johnson, if y'all know about him in Cleveland for the last 40 years, and he just got caught, you know what I'm saying, stealing like 100,000. So it's time for new leadership, and that's just where I'm at with it. So if politics is what I gotta use, I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
What inspires you? Like I have to say, I'm familiar with Walt because he is I want to call him an activist, but he's someone that's vetted in the community, and oftentimes, we have our dreams and it's, oh, I can't wait to grow up. When I grow up, I'm leaving. I'm never coming back to this place. Somehow, he found the value in that. And a lot of you guys know I'm of a household where 2 of my brothers were murdered or died from gun violence. My sister has been shot. She suffers from PTSD and don't know it, and he knows my sister and her children because they're growing up in a struggle, and it's part of what helps me sleep. Granted, there's no silver bullet or, man of steel there, but just knowing that there's someone there that cares in the midst of chaos is a big relief because I can't go back,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So you're speaking of the Down the Way projects, man. We had 14 homicides in 2020. 3 of them was under the age of 16. So yeah, it's been very real. And your nephew Ty, he's been in a few of my youth programs, and I rock with him, daily when I see him. That's my young guy, man. I watched him grow up. He's getting bigger. But go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was agreeing with you.
Okay. But yeah, so often what happens is in the hood, the projects or low income communities, what always happens is when someone gets a chance or get a financial blessing, they move. So all the gifts that's in the community, all the people, all the pillars, they move out. So the community never change. Everybody that's stuck in poverty stay there, but the people who gets out of poverty, they move out, and they never teach the ones who stuck how to get out. So my thing is, I'm staying. You get what I'm saying? I'm staying. Yeah, I moved my mom's out. My moms don't stay there anymore. You know what I'm saying? She was getting worried, all the guns shooting and all the violence, but I still stay there for this one reason. When I was a kid, and everybody that came to speak at our assemblies, at our schools for professional day, I never seen them guys again. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, damn, like, is there any positive figures in the projects? So now I pride myself on being that guy that's going to these schools. I go to every school in the central community. East Tech, I had a youth program in there called Create Art Not Violence, and that's just helping young youth overcome their traumatic experiences by using many forms of art. I go to George Washington Carver, which is the middle school. I go to Marion Sterling, which is the middle school. Alfred A. Bennett, Friendly Inn, and Mound. All these schools are in the central community, and I speak and I bring my curriculum there, and I teach and I help them overcome their traumatic experiences. And they get to knock on my door. These kids knock on my door daily. Like, they'll come knock on my door. If I'm posting on Instagram, they'll come ring the doorbell. And I do that purposely because I want them to see that they can do the same thing.
Right. So first of all, before I say what I'm gonna say, shout out G-Man. What up, Unc? I don't want you to think, you know, I'm talking about we was ignoring you, player. But
my uncle said
I'm gonna somewhat be the devil's advocate here. So, and I'm going to say that and it is my personal belief that poverty is a mindset first.
For sure.
Right. Now there are, you know, people who you know, would subscribe and would have, before you said anything, said, well, that's the point. The point is to get to a place where you can get yourself removed from that situation. However, I do respect people like yourself, people like Roxanne Shante, who still lives in her neighborhood, people like Nipsey Hussle, who didn't necessarily live in this neighborhood, but definitely spent a lot of his time there, put all of his businesses in there, and then we see what happened to Nip. So, like, what can you do to change that? Because the mindset is really what's killing us. Because the talent is there.
Yeah, poverty is a mindset. You know, I agree with you on that, man. And the Nipsey Hussle situation was just an unfortunate situation because he was changing the community. You know, he had Vector 90 and he had different spaces for young entrepreneurs to come in and set up. He was doing he had like one of the first Apple stores, and like he was doing a lot of great stuff, but he also still was tied to the gang culture, and ultimately that always comes back to bite you. And you know, his death was probably something bigger than the gang culture, as I can imagine. Like I said, I'm one of them conspiracy theorist guys who don't believe that it was a gang related murder. But yeah, I mean, the mindset is going to always be there because it's structured to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's structured. Like even when we talking about the video Black on Black murder, that's why I showed the lead poison, because lead poison is a direct tie to ADHD. You know what I'm saying? It's tied to 88% of the violence. Right. And it's in every home that was built before 1978.
Right.
And majority Black communities, you see Flint, Michigan, you see Cleveland, Ohio, you see Baltimore with Freddie Gray. He had lead poisoning. You know what I'm saying? So, and then cops,
and that has everything to do with your economic standing.
Come on, man. And then we got food deserts. So we don't have a grocery store in our community, in the projects. We don't have a grocery store. I just lost 2 of my peers in 2020 to heart failure and heart disease. You know what I'm saying? And it's due to the way that we eating. And we don't have no healthy eating options. If you take our grocery store, you're giving us the gas stations and you're giving us the fast food restaurants. Then on top of that, we got a hospital with no trauma unit. So I got a best friend who got murdered when he was 16 years old. And he probably could have made it if he would have went to the trauma unit in our community, which was 5 minutes from where he got shot. But since we didn't have a trauma unit, he had to go 20 minutes to Metro. And this is going on in Chicago as well. They don't have a trauma unit in the worst communities. You get what I'm saying?
I was just going to speak on that because that was a conversation that I was just lucky enough to be a part of probably about 3 years ago, where we were talking about access and what that actually means. And we spoke about both things that you just spoke of. One was access to supermarkets, which we don't have in certain communities, and again, access to the trauma unit, not just your regular, hospital where they can just help you with a bloody nose and put band-aids on you, but they
Nah,
don't
this
have
is
any. Yeah, and all of that, and it's hard to not think that those things are not by design.
You know what is crazy? When
You
we
certainly
talk about
can't get me to believe that the food deserts are not by design. That is certainly by my bad. People, go ahead.
what's crazy and what he speak of, the world-renowned Cleveland Clinic, the number 3 hospital in the United States, is 5 minutes from where he's speaking of. No trauma unit.
yeah, for sure. And we got Charity, St. Vincent Charity, which is
32.
like 5 minutes walking distance. That don't have a trauma unit. You get what I'm saying? And then you have our schools. Now our schools are all closing, and we just closed the high school. So you packing all these kids in one classroom. You got 29 to 30 kids to a classroom, and what's going to happen is a lot of them is going to drop out because it's too many kids in one classroom. And what they do is build prisons based off our 3rd grade reading scores. So if your kid can't read by the 3rd grade, chances are they're going to go to prison. So what better way to push them into prison is by packing the classrooms, decreasing their chances to read. So all this is by design, and I know it's by design because are you guys familiar with the PWA in 1933?
No.
With FDR. So it's the Public Work Administration, and what he did, and that started redlining. So redlining was how they took away all the business loans and the home loans from the African Americans, but gave it to the whites. And the whites was able to go to the suburbs because first the whites was in the projects. They was in my projects.
That's what the projects were built for.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. And so they got funding from FDR when he signed the PWA in 1933. They got funding to move out and get businesses. And then when we tried to apply for those businesses, we got denied. So we was purposely put in this position.
Oh, that's deep.
So that's why I
said they were painting with him last Saturday at an apartment.
Who said that?
My uncle Kenny G, that G Man 112.
He said I was painting
with him last Saturday.
I don't know. That wasn't me. I don't paint.
That wasn't him. He don't paint.
But yeah, a lot of people are unaware of the fact that those that the projects originally were actually made not for us but for white people, and how it worked was they actually allowed the men who lived there to subsidize their monthly payments by working on the building and maintaining the building as well as the facilities surrounding the building. But they paid them to do that and gave them a subsidiary as well. And once that happened and those people moved away to the suburbs and we moved in, they took away that same thing. Now there could be one in a building, whereas usually it could be 5 to 10 in a building who were all doing the same thing or all received that same subsidized payment. But as you know, not only were we not allowed to do that, but there became a point even later where men weren't allowed to actually be in most of those housings in the first place. Here's a question that you probably don't get asked because and I asked it because I was actually was in a was going to see like a counselor at some point in time, and she told me that I'm very big on helping people, especially my community. But I gotta tell you, it's a lot, and she told me that I suffer from some type of like fatigue of continuing to give, or whatever. Do you think that you deal with the fatigue of constantly giving and looking out and moving in the community as you do?
all the time. It's very energy draining. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're the only positive figure inside of your community. I ain't gonna say only, but the only one that's ready to go front line about this. You know, you got so many positive people, but are in the back because they don't want to be the only one. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it takes a lot of courage to step and be front line with this. So I'm always front line. So it's very energy draining when you're the only person that they can come to. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I do find myself, you know, getting away, you know what I'm saying, taking little trips out the community and coming back with a fresh mindset because I know that's what it takes to stay there. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, energy draining it is, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody wants to push their negativity on you and suck your positivity out of you, but then you don't get any positivity back. So very energy draining.
It's called caregivers fatigue.
What makes you keep going?
Purpose. I'll say it's purpose. It's the only thing that brings me peace. Like I'm not at peace if I'm not educating on something that I learned. The very second I learn it, I go back to the community and give it. I'm just blessed to be in these rooms with these organizations and these different developers and all these different people. I'm blessed to be in these rooms to learn the information. Everything that I just talked about was something that I learned inside these rooms that I wasn't aware of when I was out in the streets thugging. So now that I'm in these rooms, I'm learning it. It's a blessing. It's like it's a breath of fresh air for me to, you know what I'm saying, get in these rooms and go back. That's my piece. It's kind of like a Robin Hood theory where I go in there, I come back with the information and I give it to my people, whether they listen or not. So to answer your question, it's the only thing that keeps me at peace.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the next topic. I know this one is near and dear to the co-host's heart. About to bite my head off the other day, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I got my life though.
Go ahead, run with it.
We're going to talk about the suppression of the black woman. You know, women in general, but black women to be specific. You know, and you know, growing up, you just having to go in these rooms and fight when you come home because you doing a lot and you're going, your man think you need to take a break, and then going to work and get in these rooms with these men and how to duke it out with the best of them, only to be labeled as, you know, angry or aggressive or you know, a bully, you know, despite the voice because of the intimidation factor. And people of the opposite color, I'm not gonna call them off, they can't relate to that of a black woman. So while black man, which is how me and Mark became so close, he can understand, he grew up in this. But when we get out in this world, there's nothing, and especially when you're in the black community, there's not enough diversity to teach you how to move in the room with a room for the strangers and not of your like kind. And when you go in there, you know, you already have that the color of your skin automatically thinks that you know, makes them feel that you're below them. That's number one. Number two, the fear that you might be actually smart when you open your mouth and it makes sense and you know what you're talking about. You know, we face that. So yes, I feel like we've been suppressed, you know. Not only this, but just everything as a whole, like the government. And to be perfectly honest, and I'm on one of my rants, I'm gonna say this: the only reason why Trump was in office, it wasn't because he was qualified. It was because the United States wasn't ready for a woman.
That's a fact.
That's the only reason why he was in there. But you know, with me and being military background, I understand why the world isn't ready for a woman. As you guys know, like I've lived all over. I'm a military, 20 years retired, Mark II. Right before I retire, I lived in a country where it'll be a little boy in the front seat, no seatbelt on, jumping all over the car. The wife in the back, sitting down, seatbelt on, face screened. You know, you still can get beat in public on Sundays. You know, you can be punished and put in and screened in and set on a corner and humiliated because you didn't do what your husband say. You know, but when we America push for these things, and we as Black women, we hold on to anything that gives us hope, and we got to get out of that or whatever, because you know it. And I'm not against Kamala Harris, but I know for a fact everything that she's portrayed on the TV, she's saying black this, or she went to HBCU this, she did this, she did that, or whatever. You know, they left out the stuff that they want us to forget about her and Biden. They wrote that crime bill. You know, when she was putting her foot on the necks to advance up through the ranks, she did that on the backs of these black men that she sent to this prison. You know, when forget about that. And not only that, the whole time that she was running, before they realized that that black vote was significant, she identified as Asian American. She does not identify as black. But you know, that goes through our culture. You see a pretty little girl with some good hair in her head, she saying you got Indian in your family, girl, you black. You know, and you doing this to people, and we got you know, she put that's why that's where she is, and that's how I view her. You know, you got the house niggas and you got the film niggas. You know?
I'm gonna let my man Doc Reed up in the conversation, because I know he itching.
He ready for me.
What up, Doc?
She's fine. I think the world would never be right until a black woman is running it, because Mother Nature is what runs the world, really. Yes, Kamala Harris is far, her moral compass is off, because her career is more important than her moral compass. So I will agree with you on that. Hillary, far as her being president, Hillary had a bad moral compass too, and I wouldn't have voted for her because of what she did to Gaddafi. If she wouldn't have did what she did to Gaddafi and bragged about it, I would have voted for Hillary. But just the fact that she did that and thought that was okay to brag about it, no, I can't vote for evil. So at this point in our history,
I go with that. But that's what I go with that. Right now, we knew the impact that Biden and Kamala had on the black community, but what we do, we chose the lesser of the two evils.
Which is what we do every 4 years.
Now that's black men. Let's get that. Oh, no, the black men chose too. They all voted for Trump, but listen, I voted for myself, and they called me a clown, but I was cool with that because I said I'm a clown, but y'all voting for evil. So y'all need to look in the mirror. That's what I told people. I said I voted for myself. They called me a clown. I said, well, look in the mirror. Y'all the ones voting for evil. I feel righteous, so I mean,
but she just make a good point that we just voted for the lesser of two evils, which is what we usually wind up doing every 4 years anyway.
We can't do that anymore.
She was stamped because she was a woman. You know, she was the woman that let Bill get away with getting slobbed on the knob like corn. You know, like, you got to think about it. Like, of course, when they look at her, oh, she can't even run her house or whatever. You know, how she gonna run the country? She was staying before she got there. But what's her name already told y'all he was about that action. He said he puffed, but he didn't inhale. Like, he been on this stuff. You got to make it make sense. The only reason why Trump is in the office is because y'all, that woman, when you line their resumes up, she was more qualified.
Yeah, she was more qualified, but I think Trump also benefited off the fact that Barack was the outgoing president, and there were just people who was just not with. I mean, you know, he met resistance at every turn. I ain't saying he was great, you know what I mean, because I mean, he, you know, there's some things that there's a lot of things that I think he could have done much better. But on the heels of a black president, I mean, it was great. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was prime time for somebody like Donald Trump to thrive. He was. I mean, he said all of the right stuff in the beginning. Oh, you know, these are all politicians. I'm going to drain the swamp. You know, I'm a great businessman, and all these people and everybody was feeling that.
That's what they did. They made Trump look like a hero,
right? And plus he included his dog whistles to his followers that, you know, don't want black people to be in any type of position of power. You know, and all of those things worked out for him. And white women, you know what I'm saying? White women, you know, came out large numbers and voted for Trump.
He put in one black young lady and made her a senator or something like that down in Atlanta, or a congressman. I forget what seat she got, but she definitely got pardoned and she got a seat. So we talk about Trump. It's a misconception a little bit.
No, I think Trump knows what he's doing.
Like I said, what they say, all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Absolutely right.
That's what I'm saying.
Huh?
Oh yeah, she benefited just like them. Like she getting rain.
Okay, hold on. Hey,
go ahead.
Hey, we got a caller. Can y'all hear him? We got G-Man. Go ahead, G-Man. Can y'all hear him?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to commend the guy in the orange thing. You know, you sound like you here in Cleveland. I really want to meet with you because I want to get myself more involved in things like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I stand for. You know what I'm saying? I'm pro-black, you know, all the way. You know what I'm saying? And I know it wasn't you I was speaking on going with me painting. It was my nephew, Ty. He went with me painting. I'm trying to teach him the trade so he don't have to be out here in the streets, you know, hustling the wrong thing, you know, being subjugated, you know, by police or by other people in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And Peaches, the subjugation of black women, that'll never cease because of the mindset of men and the mindset of women, period, and especially white women. You know, they jealous.
Can I just stop you for a second?
Know,
don't say it would never cease. We need to make a change.
They jealous, like you know what I'm saying, of you. You know what I'm saying? I can't even fathom why black women would even get on there trained with this women movement thing, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't include them. That's why you got people like Sandra Bland, people like Breonna Taylor, you know, murders going like unpunished. Ain't nobody stand up for them black women, you know what I'm saying? So it's a one of those things of America, and it's I hate to keep saying it, but it's a racist thing, you know what I'm saying? And the mindset, it's a racist thing and a male thing. I don't care if they white or black, you know what I'm saying? But men have a real problem with women in power and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So, but really, the man in the orange thing, I really need to write your number down, or how can I get in touch with you? You know what I'm saying? I got an ink pen right now in my hand to write whatever I need to write down so I can click with you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, G-Man, Peaches will give you that information.
You know, he lives by Nikki.
All right.
So
hey, thank you for calling in, because we gotta address something that you just said.
Yeah, we can't be saying never nothing. That's like.
Hey, so here's a question though, because he brought up a good point about you know, that women, black, white, or whatever, will continue to suffer that suppression or indifference, you know, until men say so.
But
so what do y'all think a man's role in the suppression of and not just the suppression, but relieving them of that suppression is? Let me hear from Walt first, Peaches.
I mean,
that's Walt.
Hey.
Those are sensitive topics, man, that I kind of like to stay away from, man. I just, you know, because it's an ongoing, like, this the problem is I can disagree with Peaches and Peaches can disagree with me, and then that's the problem. There will never be a solution because it's a man and it's a woman going back and forth, when in reality we need to be working together to create these solutions. So I'm very particular about the things that I speak on, because I know that it can create more of an argument instead of a solution. So yeah.
So I got a more overreaching view on that, but I'll go into it after Peaches say what she got to say.
You cut me off now. We're already making enormous strides trying to come, well, not trying, we're breaking through these glass ceilings. You know, when you think about the pandemic, do y'all know that 68% of wage workers is black women? 68%. Guess what else? 140,000 people lost their jobs or whatever during one quarter during this pandemic. Mm-hmm. Guess how the majority of them was black women. You know, we look good on paper, but for some reason we gotta outdo, you know, the male counterpart. So when y'all say we gotta stop being aggressive, you coming off as this, you know what I mean? You gotta realize that our back been backed against the wall. What do you do when you're back against the wall?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, but you know, y'all don't have the market cornered on that though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, black men, we dealing with the same thing. Doc, what you got to say?
Well, at the end of the day, the most millionaires that came up in the last year have been black women. So we're gonna, point that out. Business wise, it's black women are on the rise as far as business. I mean, private owned businesses and things of that nature.
Right.
Yeah, like I agree with the guy. What's his name?
Walt.
What's your name? Rob.
Walt.
I do agree with Walt. Like it is like, and I gotta take that into account too when I speak too now, because I don't want to start an argument where I'm not gonna find no common ground or solution. And I feel like for the woman, it's just that we gotta protect our women, uplift our women better. That's all.
That's a
not
fact.
Suppress them or be in fear of what they are capable of, and feeling like we are being demeaned as men because they are they're on the rise or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing that I wanted to say after Walt made his initial statement. Go ahead, Peaches. What you say?
That's because the men try to use money as leverage.
What else do we have, Peaches?
That's all
we
y'all
don't
respect.
have anything else.
I got it.
A man is only valuable as a provider.
No, the man is valuable as a lover. Unfortunately, all y'all can't do it.
Here you go. Here you go.
But
Here
you
you
know what I mean.
Well, you're saying that you're a woman, so I can't disagree with that. you know what you want.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be.
You can't speak for all women, though. We gotta say majority of these women want a man that can provide, though.
I keep telling people she is an anomaly. Not all women are women.
But to what level? Everybody always stamped out. Oh, I like what I like. I like. Fortunately, the type of I live to be happy. First of all, I don't do it nothing. Everybody know if it's causing me a lot of stress and grief, I throw it away, because sure, I'm black. I have blood pressure. You might not wake up tomorrow. Now, I'm not carrying nobody else's baggage with me. But anyway, you guys use money as leverage. And when it feels like you losing your leverage or you don't have the voice that you got, and it might not even be that, y'all push us into a bubble. We see it often. We've been seeing women getting assaulted by men. And the question, the girl in the back that was buying the wine that got beat, pistol whipped by the guy. Oh, she just stopped to buy a bottle of wine on the way home. She wouldn't let him pay for it. He pistol whipped her.
Oh,
yeah, I remember that.
No, he's about the guy that bit the girl face too. You seen that?
Yeah.
Ridiculous, yes.
So you learn if you do, learn if you don't. You either face with being unhappy or whatever and making with somebody that's making 150,000, or you can get somebody that's making 70,000-80,000 and be happy and laugh. Like, what do you need that the two of y'all can't provide? It's and that steers y'all away from women like us that's up there, because your mind frame, you don't like rejection because you've been dealing with stuff your whole life, and then in the back of your mind sometimes you don't feel like you're good enough for that woman. So we at a
because I'm gonna tell you, like I keep telling you, first and foremost, like you always be telling me, you are an anomaly. You're not the norm, right? So when people say, so when you say, oh yeah, I can deal with, like I said, we provide. Even when we're in a relationship with a woman who makes more money than us, especially if it's a significant amount, the main thing, I just got finished telling my daughter the other day, a man has to feel needed, not wanted, needed. He gotta feel like he is needed in the household. You know what I'm saying? And listen. And because we are bred to provide, if part of that need is not our provision, then it's going to hurt the ego. That's just point blank. You know what I'm saying? Period. Let me go back to what Walt said, because I want to touch on that before I forget, because he said, he don't want to go back and forth and argue and all that kind of stuff like that. One, I think that's the problem I think that's the overreaching problem for the black community, period. Right? At no point do we all have to agree for us to still move in unison. We don't have to all. That's like saying if we all ain't Christians, we can't rock with each other. You know what I'm saying? If we all not Muslim, we can't rock with each other. If we all not Democrats, if we all, We use all of these things to divide us when we should be thinking about the overall end goal that we would want to see for us all. See, here she go. Here she go.
That's what's wrong with the United States right there. Or whatever. You ain't gonna report. You gotta feel. I'm tripping over myself. But you feel you like the Democrat and the Republican Party. Who you voted for? The Democrats, right? A lot of the stuff that they doing, you might not agree with.
Right.
But you're gonna vote Democrat and get no. A lot of us don't do no background on there. They go in the poll booth, Democrat.
Well, I have to separate myself because I don't just vote Democrat.
From that too, because
I don't just vote Democrat. I'm all over the place depending on who I think can get the job done.
I'm not voting for nobody that's talking about there's no thing as a gender. Like that's ridiculous. Genders in nature. Animals have genders.
Liberals are conservative.
We ain't born asymptomatic. That's like fucking redundant. Like it's horrible and it's offensive for real.
Yeah, look, V-Man said a man has to be relevant as a leader of the household. That's just, you know what I'm saying, what it is. We got a couple, we got a little while left. So let's we got a little while left, and I want to hear, and I want to get to the fix. You know what I'm saying? To hear about what how Doc Reed think he gonna fix the black community. Go ahead, Doc.
At the end of the day, unity, and we like that was speaking about murders. It's about to get warm outside. And we know that's when the murder rate goes up the most. Pay attention to the skies. Really pay attention to the skies when they're dropping these chemtrails. These chemtrails they dropping in the air and people are breathing them in, and it's a night and they anger and stuff like that. Believe it or not. So at the end of the day, we got to build unity and figure out how we can stop this violence and come together as these communities in different cities. And we can't stop the people we can't go in there and try to stop people that's already been killed and stuff like that, because people are like, oh, he killed my brother and stuff like that. They're not trying to hear that. We can get the kids that's not always lost yet. That's the job right there. To break the cycles of these men biting that girl face because he got rejected. We got to start gripping these kids up young, and that's the only way to break the cycles and start teaching them something different. Let's grip them up young, and not even just young, even the ones that's not lost yet. And let's save them and condition them to a certain way so they can provide a future for their kids and our great grandkids, and not destroy our planet.
Right.
Not the heinous things.
What you say to somebody, Doc, who says that in philosophy they say that development is due to two things: nature or nurture. So what do you say to somebody who? Huh?
I believe everything's a learned behavior, and I believe that you can nurture somebody to be a certain way. Yes, that's conditioning.
Mm-hmm. But what about here's what I mean when I say that, right? So Doc Reed got a son. Doc Reed, you have your son at home and you're teaching him properly. You know what I'm saying? How he should, conduct himself as a man, how he should conduct himself as a black man, how he should deal with women, how he should deal with authority, because there are not a lot of black men in households, or not as many as they should be. I'm not going to lean on the statistics that's out there, but we reject authority. Largely, we reject authority. Even as a grown 40-plus-year-old man, I can still tell you that my limitations are still there when it comes to authority. And I went through 20-plus years of military, and I still have that thing, you know what I'm saying, about authority. You know what I mean? And you know what, Walt, I would like to hear what you got to say about that too, especially for what you see, when you're working with these young men in the neighborhoods.
So what was the beginning of the question? Was it like what do we see to change the world? Like how was that question stated? So nature versus nurture.
Yeah. And as far and how that applies when we're trying to grip the young men up and point them in the proper direction. Now everything may be good while one is in the home of Doc Reed, but once they walk outside and they reach the nature or the environment that they're around, it could alter the way that they think.
Oh yeah, that's facts, man. And that's what I do. Like, so, you know, I got a youth initiative called Create Art Not Violence. I got over 64 kids in my community, and what I see daily is oh yeah, Doc, and what Create Art Violence Not do is it Create Art Not Violence. It helps kids overcome their traumatic experiences by using many forms of art: poetry, painting, hip hop, film. So those kids that y'all see in those films, they're all a part of my youth program. But back to what I'm trying to say is that when I have these kids inside the youth program, they good. They basically angels, you know what I'm saying? Because they get to express themselves. But the thing is, when they go back to their household, it's when they lose focus because they've been conditioned to feel this way, and it's not their fault because their parents been conditioned to feel that way. Their parents been conditioned to feel that way. So it's a generational trauma. That's the thing, man. So it's like it's big. And are y'all familiar with Jeffrey Canada?
Yes, a little bit.
He got like it's if you Google Jeffrey Canada, the Harlem Children's Zone is what he do in New York, and he sent 13,000 kids to college because what he believe, he's a black man, so they don't promote him that much. But what he did was he took those kids out those households and their mothers and put them all in one facility. He get like a significant amount of funding. He put them all in one facility and raised them all together because he believed that it start in the household. So what's going on is what I see with this youth is their households. Everything starts with the parenting. Like if you watch the Black on Black Murder film, when he has lead poison, his mother is only concerned about getting a check if he takes the medicine.
Right.
So she like, you ain't gonna get them Jordans if you don't take that medicine. And that's what we see. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on. I have a young lady in my community that's based on because I know her, and she's making her kid take this medicine in order to get a check. Because if that medicine is not in his system, she don't get a check. So it's like,
you know, that's crazy because you just hit me upside the head because it's the exact opposite of what I said of the nurturing being done in the home and versus what could happen outside of it, and what you're saying is the exact, you know, polar opposite. That's crazy and
again,
sad to think of.
I only speak to my experience because also what I believe is that, you know, a lot of us we have this mindset that we want to save the city, right? Like a lot of us like, I want to save the city, man. Everybody in the city gotta. But I feel like you save the city if you save your household, if you save if you save your community. If Doc got his community and he changing his community, like we just fed 400. Well, I ain't gonna say fed. We service 400 residents with housing, cleaning products, fresh produce because we don't have a grocery store, and what else? Hygiene products. In between January up to February, I'm a part of an initiative that serviced 400 residents, right? And we got a grocery delivery service that we deliver to all the residents because in our community, 60% of the people don't have transportations. So we developed a grocery delivery service, a giveaway. We got a youth program for the kids that I run, Create Art Not Violence, right? And I'm a part of a lead initiative to where we provide resources and grants. We teach policy and advocacy classes. You know what I'm saying? We teach how to be a risk assessor, how to go in there and take lead out of homes. We'll make them safe because you can never really remove lead unless you tear the home down. Right. But what I'm saying is I'm a part of all these initiatives taking care of my community. And if Doc take care of his community, not saying you're not, brother, I'm pretty sure you're doing a good job.
I know what you're saying. It's an example.
And if Peaches take care of her community, and if Brother Sincere take care of his community, and then we come, us four as leaders of the community, come at the table at the end of the month and say what's doing right and what's doing wrong. That's all we need to do. I'm not worried about what Doc doing in his community. I'm not worried about what Peaches doing in her community. I'm not worried about what Sincere doing in his community. I'm worried about what's going right in my community. And that's what I think change is. We got to focus on our front yard. Like we was focusing on what's the guy named George Floyd, which was a great thing to focus on. I'm not taking nothing away from that. That went national, but it's a kid in my community named Arthur Keefe who was murdered by the CMHA police and nobody know about it. Cleveland, Ohio, got shot in the back. Got gunned down, and it never went public, but all down my timeline from people in my community talking about celebrities. They was talking about George Floyd, but nobody talked about Arthur Keefe, and he stayed right across the street. So we got to fight that same fight. We fight for Breonna Taylor, for the people that's next door to us, and that's how I think everything could change. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's just the way I view the world, man.
Yeah.
I believe like when it comes to like I can't fix the world. There's no me and I. It's only we and us. And until we understand that, we will never get nowhere. I can come up with ideals and whatever the case may be, but I'm only one person at the end of the day. So if we don't come together on a higher scale of unity, there won't be no fixing or no evolution of us. So for us to evolve, We must build our unity to a point where it's impenetrable. I mean, it can't be destroyed. So that's where I'm at. Strong. We be on code so crazy that they don't even know what's going on. I want our code to be open. Like we really telepathing, but with our body language, because people don't understand. Telepathy is not always like speaking with your mind. Sometimes you speak with your body language and stuff like that. Like I can speak to you, but I'm speaking to you just by the way I'm carrying myself, my energy, my vibration, my frequency, and that's the things that we're going to do. So at the end of the day, it's all about building unity, right? In my city, I should be working on what I need to work on in my city and that, and we should come together and collide and understand because we got the same problems in every city, murder rates, conditioning, things of that matter. So it's all about coming together and talking about solutions. Not really focusing on what you got going on in your city, but hey, what solution? Like you saying, you going around feeding people. Oh, you doing that? Maybe I should try to do that too, because I got that same problem in my city. So let me take that idea that you got and do that in my city, like that. Right. But that's it's all about us. Unity is the most important thing for us. Like we gotta really we argue and bicker over the little things, especially history. That's what really pisses me off right now with our community because it's different, ideals of history. Leave that where it's at. At the end of the day, we need to build a new empire, right?
No, that's what tells us. We need to go back to history, just like I talked about, or whatever. Not the I have a dream speech or whatever, who y'all just our kid up, but the mountaintop speech. And that's what's going to enact change. Just like Martin Luther King said, when he described what he was seeing in the world in 1964 or whatever, it's the same. You can describe the world like that today. It's in chaos or whatever. You need to go in there. He said, take your money out of these big establishments, find these black-owned banks, get these black-owned businesses, start these black-owned insurance companies, and build back up. And when you start playing with somebody's money, they either gonna get in line or whatever, or it's gonna be a fight. But as you can see now, they still on high alert, trying to take the Capitol today. Crazy. So if we think that we can have a kumbaya moment and we can sit down like we at the United Nations at a NATO peace treaty and think that we gonna come together when we have somebody that's already describes themselves as a supreme being, the divine one or whatever, like I was saying, what's his name, Yuka, pull that up and the man scientist, the man scientist that created these white people. Look at the mountains. I can't pull it, call them out. Yeah, just that kind of stuff right there. Unless we do what was already laid out for us. He said before he was killed, he gave us the blueprint. And go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Again, like I just don't want to bicker about history. Like the different ideals of history.
I feel like a white person should be allowed to tell Black history, even this stuff that you see on TV or whatever. Who when they write these history books, when Pearson published their stuff, McGraw-Hill, and it's given out to the kids, that we're falling in line. It's just like this Bible. Right. That Bible, those names aren't even the real names. A lot of the names in the Bibles have been altered to reflect that of a white man who isn't the true race, Right. It's just some things you got to look at, and some things Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, even down to Tuskegee Airmen, just the Tuskegee trial. Yeah, for syphilis at the university. I was about to say the airmen, but just everything that's until people understand why we are the way we are, nothing is going to change. And you cannot convince somebody who's taught to stand on their history like we want our children to stand on ours to believe the truth. That's not what my daddy, that's not my granddaddy. They was this and they was that. They built this world. You're not going to make them believe that we are their equal. And reparations is, may he rest in peace. I call it the Kobe Bryant theory. You know, he put his wife in that big ass ring and put her on that fur jacket and say, yeah, I messed with that girl, but I made sure she's straight. We going forward. You can't throw no money at me and make me forget about what happened, because that's here. Shut the fuck up. That's what that is. We're not doing, you know.
At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is, we gotta build an empire the same way.
Kobe, I said this.
I know what you're saying.
I got you.
Can I get this off real fast, Peaches? Because I want to go off topic on my idea. What I'm saying is the same way that we go on research and we see in Kemet and Egypt and all that, we need to build that now. So our great kids can be talking about our empire. You understand what I'm
living
saying?
in it.
And our kids can be living in it. Our kids will live in it, but our great grandkids will talk about it. You understand what I'm saying? And talk about the greatness and the overcoming of the oppression and all these different things. And it's not really, it doesn't matter if I'm one person, but unity is a must. It can't never be me and I. Only we and us. That's the only way we can have true black power. At the end of the day.
And next week, next time we have you on, talking about some, hey, y'all, forget it. We moving to Ghana with Stevie Wonder. Ain't nobody else.
It's about building a new empire.
Hey, man, we going to call it a day right here, man. We got it in. We got a good one. I appreciate Walt for coming in, guest hosting and joining us, man. Walt, I want you to tell everybody where they can follow you, and especially where they could have access to those short films of yours.
Yeah, no doubt. So if you're on Instagram, you can follow me at Walter Patton, PATTON _. And from that Walter Patton page, you can also tap into my team page. I ain't gonna really say my team page because you can find it in my bio, because it's kind of complicated to say it on here. But if you just look up Walter Patton _ you can find me. I'm on YouTube as well. I'm on Facebook as well as Walter Patton, and my YouTube channel, all Walter Patton, PATTON. A lot of people sometimes call me Peyton, like my last name Peyton, like being a football player. So that'll pop up. So it got to be PATTON. All my short films and my music is on my YouTube channel, Walter Patton.
Awesome. If anybody want to, lend a hand to what it is that you're doing out in your community, whether it be physically or monetarily, how can they go about doing that as well?
They can contact me on any one of those pages. You know what I'm saying? It's more so physically. We need bodies. You know what I'm saying? Right. We need more people to be active inside of their community. You know what I'm saying? We need this to be a domino effect. How violence is a domino effect. We need positivity to be promoted on social media. How negativity is promoted on social media. So reach out to me. Anybody can reach out to me through those social medias and come on. We need all hands on deck.
Yeah. I love how you put that. Doc, any shout outs? You got any shout outs you want to give?
No, I don't have any shout outs. Unity. There's no me and I, only we and us. Let's just keep screaming that.
I love it.
That's all I want to keep screaming. Unity. Must.
The blueprint out there. I'm gonna say that the blueprint. They already gave us the blueprint. We just need to build. That's it. That's
right. That's it.
Queen Latifah put that out there.
I do want to say one thing. I want everybody that's watching and everybody that will watch, please just drop that word mourning and start saying great black rising or great rising, because we're not mourning about anything no more. We can smile again.
We're rising. I like it.
We want to rise to power. We got power. Don't get it wrong. It's power out here. We ain't got it like we gotta have it because the unity not there, but we want to rise to power. So great rising and great evening to everybody.
I like it, man. Again, there's another episode of the Black Old Podcast. We appreciate everybody for giving us a couple of minutes of your time, man. See y'all next week, same time, same place.
Thank you.
I don't hate, I motivate my people to elevate and rise above the fray to show God is great. Not blasphemous, but magnanimous, without any animus to show that they're fabulous. With a little bashfulness being the catalyst for adult learners to conquer calculus, mathematics, regression analysis.